Hey everyone, it's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into the Super Bowl game because I've noticed what seems to be ESPN. I won't let me pull up ESPN right now. I wonder if it's when people are watching a lot of games because it could be a traffic issue. I notice a lot of times I try and get into ESPN around this time. I can't. But anyway, Super Bowl game. Obviously, I put out kind of my initial reactions for these two teams and what I believed. But as I said, I wasn't just going to rush out a pick. I wanted to see 1.5. It might have moved to 2. I'm trying to see if NFL shows their odds. I only go by ESPN, so honestly, I don't care too much about these ones. But I'd imagine it's probably right around 1.5 still. And anyway, I want to go into why I do indeed like the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs because the NFL had me thinking for a minute. And before I go into it, let me just do a quick recap. I like to recap our games. We have the Bulls still in play. Probably not going to get that one. They snuck Dinwiddie in. I thought he was going to be out for like another game, but that's all right. Hawks right up in the air. I think we're laying about 7.5 or 8. I think we're laying 8 there, so I'm laying 8 at least. I'm not sure what you guys are laying. So that one could anyone could win. Magic we got, and then we got the Lakers coming up. And more importantly, per usual, and it's just nothing. It's nothing crazy, but we killed it with college. The LIU covered. Not only did they cover, they only lost by 1 point. I'm sure that was just to break the hearts of people. Oh, this is a TBD. I'm sure it was just to break the hearts of people that picked LIU straight up. That's why I don't mess with money lines. I thought about sprinkling some on the Magic. I think about sprinkling some on the college sometimes. But the whole reason I play college is the metrics. Rice, Florida Atlantic, really good against the spread. Rice covered. And our biggest one was St. Francis Wagner. The reason I like this one so much, I went over this yesterday in my last video. It might not be my very last video, but it was one of my more recent videos. If you look at the over, and again, I went over the historical norms if you go back every year. Now, this has been updated. San Francisco has now improved to 26.1 on St. Francis, and Wagner has improved to 30%. Before this game, St. Francis was at 22.1%, and Wagner was around 25%, okay? And that's why I like this one as a leg 3, because you'll see only a handful of teams, if any, finish below 25. So you'll have like one or two. You're not going to have a bunch of teams, and it's very rare to have them. You'll see. If they didn't play a full schedule, so I don't count Maine here because they only played 9. We're playing teams on a full schedule. Valparaiso, however you pronounce it, 23.1. I'm guessing it's Valparaiso. Indiana State, 25. So you can see the number, and that's why when they start eking outside that number, I like them. You only got one team in the prior year, and that's basically what we see in history. So when we have a bunch of teams that are under 25%, and we did, that's why I like those teams. And now they're above 25%. So, I know it's boring, it can be redundant, but I go into it all the time, college and why it's so important. And I haven't updated tonight's yet because we still have some in play. But, people that follow college, Matt's following college, Big Z's always posting plays in college. The people that follow college are the ones that do by far the best on these picks. So I just wanted to go over that. It looks like if San Diego underhits, we're 4-1 on college. Even if they don't, we're 3-2, which I'll take. NBA is looking like a split, maybe a 3-1. Now, the reason I like the Chiefs, first I was thinking, okay, it's pretty obvious. Brady retires after 23 years. Mahomes will go 2 out of 3 in the Super Bowl, which is .666. And they're lining everything up for Pat, and the 3X lines up. All the things, and just the very simple logic of putting the numbers aside, the fact that I don't think they would start Pat Mahomes off 1 out of 3 in the Super Bowl. He's the next Brady, in my opinion. But then I started thinking, now McAfee's coming out saying how everyone thinks it's rigged for the Chiefs. Would the NFL dare throw an audible and have the Eagles win this game? So I was thinking of that, and I was thinking of that hard because I really thought they might. That thought was crossing my mind, and then they keep pushing the Chiefs even more. Then Goodell comes out and says the officiating's never been greater. So it's almost like if they're going to have the Chiefs win this game, it'd be the most blatant setup in history. That had me liking the Eagles, but honestly, I think half of that's some reverse psychology they are trying, and just getting back to the basics, the narratives. I don't think they're going to change a year-long script because of us. So, I think honestly, this whole NFL rig, the reason McAfee and them are talking about it, if you've noticed, since we've talked about how the NFL is scripted, nobody's been talking about DeMar. So I think that was their higher goal. The State Farm commercials obviously lining up. I think it just lines up with the Chiefs. And honestly, they are that blatant. They really wouldn't care. They would put it in people's face because that's the kind of people they are. So, yeah, I think there's not much explanation needed here. Chiefs cover. I think it was a 1.5 point game. If they're an underdog, then obviously the money line is going to be more beneficial. But I don't love it because I could see the game going both ways a little bit. But again, I know it sounds corny, but when I use my WWE logic, it hits at a pretty high rate, and not going into the numerology or the historiography of it. But again, I do find it interesting that the Philly defector, Paul Heyman, he's with Roman Reigns, the champ, he has 2 belts, by the way, and his nickname is the Tribal Chief. So, the wrestling likes to give things away. Cody Rhodes just won the Rumble in Georgia, is his team. So, it's not a coincidence in my opinion. So, I really do think everything is lining up for the Chiefs here, and Mahomes, whatever you want to call him, the head of the Chiefs, But he is, in my opinion, he's the guy. He's the next guy, the next Brady. You can't start him off 1-3 in the Super Bowl. And honestly, I think they almost welcome this kind of talk because they'll do anything to get views, ratings, and again, eyes off of DeMar. Nobody's talking about him. Everyone's talking about Mahomes, and they're so mad at Pat, and they're just doing what they did with the Warriors, with the Chiefs. They'll take that all day. So from a narrative perspective, from an optical perspective, from every perspective, I like the Chiefs. And I was thinking of the optical perspective. That's why I held out so long before making my prediction. So nothing crazy. I think the Chiefs win. I don't think Hurts is going to get this early, and he'll get 1 or 2. But yeah, send Mahomes to the Super Bowl, and I feel like he's got to win most of them. And after losing, after Brady literally passed him the torch earlier this year, and Mahomes put over Brady when they let him win, I think it just stands to perfect reason that the Chiefs win this one. So that's my play. Chiefs win the Super Bowl. If I had to pick a score, just because they're kind of indicating it's going to be electrifying and the refs are going to let people get away with stuff, but at the same time, they might be a problem. They're kind of indicating this game is probably going to be more on the exciting side. So I think I'm not buying that the score was leaked. I'll go ahead and just off of my gut say 34-24 Kansas City. I think that the supposed leak script was the Eagles won like 37-34. I don't think, maybe it's within a field goal, but I think they make it where it's not a last someone driving down the field. I think basically Mahomes looks good, Hurts looks good, and the Chiefs will just hold up. So yeah, we'll say 34-20 for Kansas City, which obviously would mean the over is a good play because I think the over was at like 51 or something. I could be wrong. But yeah, hopefully ESPN's up. We can get the exact lines. But as I said, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs were an underdog. Now, the other thing that was interesting is ESPN came out and outright said 71% of the public handles on the Eagles. So it would be interesting for them to say that and then have the Chiefs win. Again, that had me thinking like, reverse psychology. But again, at the end of the day, I'm just going to stick to what I feel like the narrative we all believe, and that's the Pat replacing Tom narrative that I don't think they're going to squander away. So yeah, Chiefs win the Super Bowl, and that's my prediction. I'll go into all tomorrow's games as well. I just wanted to get this one out separately because it's been kind of sneaking up on me. Honestly, because I'm more curious about what the aftermath is of this Super Bowl than the Super Bowl itself. I can't wait to see the aftermath, how they treat it. Just the people are going to be saying it's rigged no matter what now, even casual fans, just because people are going to be mad their team lost. That is going to happen. But it's going to be definitely trending. So I'm curious to see how it's handled by the NFL, McAfee, the others, and basically how the game's called. I'm more interested in that stuff than the game itself, since we know it's fake. But yeah, Chiefs win, and like I said, I'll have all of tomorrow's picks out as well. So take care and happy earnings.